if you would please state your name and then also write your name and your address for the city clerk. That's greatly appreciated. And if you would please limit your time to 3 minutes.
Hi, Lewis Richardson, 401 East Harris, Cadillac, Michigan, 49601. And everyone knows why we're here. We're here for concessions down on the lake. And I just want to read the letter that I addressed to Sandra Watson after our refusal. I have recently received your letter regarding the nonprofit LLC's pending application for a license to sell hot dogs in a city park this summer. All the conditions in the letter can be met except for paragraph 2 regarding the civil judgment from the Wexford County Circuit Court that was entered last year on April 2nd against me personally and against my lawyer. I'm requesting to address this unfair condition of the licensing with the Cadillac City Council on Monday, May 16, 2016 at 6 p.m. Please put this matter on your agenda, which was denied, for that evening. Please know that the judgment entered against me personally has nothing to do with the LLC that the hot dog cart is owned and operated by. I am only the manager of the LLC and not the owner. I have filed the application for a license on behalf of the LLC to be the license holder, not myself personally. I am and will be asking to have the City Council overrule the staff's decision to require a personal debt that is required as a condition of licensing when I am only the manager of the LLC and not the owner. Also, I have reviewed the court file, and it shows that the other party subject to the judgment, my lawyer on the case, has taken full responsibility for the debt and is making monthly payments to pay off the debt. I am disappointed over the city's decision, as last year the LLC license was granted when the same debt existed. Now I understand from the court file that the debt is being repaid at a schedule the city has agreed to. I feel it is an unfair condition to require the LLC be subject to my personal debts. I am asking the City Council to acknowledge this information and waive the requirement contained in paragraph 2 of your May 3, 2016 letter. A decision to deny the LLC a license to sell hot dogs in a city park hurts the entire community, and particularly the many special needs recipients that attend a Detroit Tigers baseball game every year due to the charitable cause the food cart service provides. The hot dog cart is a fixture and tradition in the Cadillac City Park that many in the community have enjoyed and appreciated over the last 2 decades. Please put this matter on Monday's agenda and reconsider your condition. Thank you, Lewis Richardson. For the $24,000, I didn't even know what the amount was until after it hit the papers on this weekend. I never received anything at all. For $24,000, that would require 96 hours at $250 an hour that they would have had to put into it. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. I'm going to go next, Mr. Melvin. Thank you. You got to put your name up here later, Louis. Bill Barnett, 915 Stimson. Hi, everybody. Stopping by here to ask you to support Louis' request here to back off on the financial requirement that's been put in place under 1040. It looks like 1040 has to do with real estate and personal property taxes, and that's the indebted portion that is referred to. It just is unfair to require him to make a payment like that when it's his LLC is the one that's applying here. It looks like retaliation. I'm here to support Louis, his cart, his mission, the tradition, and the history that goes along with that cart. People like the cart. I think he should start a petition and start circulating that and get some support. You'll see that there is support in the community. For those of you that are new to the council, I have been complaining about the way things have been going on here in closed session. I don't know if you guys voted in closed session or this was strictly a staff decision. I seriously doubt it was strictly a staff decision. So I'm curious who was behind it. Is it the city council? Was there a vote? Was it a staff decision? Or how did this come down? I think you owe the community some information similar to the cable public television changes that happened in closed session or wherever. I think the tourists like it, the farmers market likes the cart,
and the community likes it. And I'd ask you to kindly reconsider the condition you put in there. It appears you have a party that's settled with you. I'm not sure if payments are made or not. It appears maybe they weren't, as the city now is attempting to set aside that installment agreement as of Thursday, according to the paperwork I guess Mr. Richardson just received today. But the permit was granted last year. The same debt was out there. It's got to be not mandatory. It's something you don't have to do, and you've chosen to do it this year, and I don't know why you would do that. Other than last year was an election year, I don't know why you did it unless there's some gray area here. And if there is gray area, I'd appreciate it. It would be the right thing to do to allow him to operate his cart as he has, and as Mr. Scarborough has over the last several years. But I think you're in a gray area under 1040, as well as his LLC, which is a little different than his personal debts. And again, you have somebody on a contract that you can move forward with if you had to, and you've made a decision to collect from that party. I'd ask you to stay the course there and not hold this on Louis' neck. Thank you.
My name is Douglas Mellema, and I would like to speak on behalf of Louis Richardson. I've been gone for a while, but things haven't changed here a bit. We still make decisions, and I don't know this for sure, but I would bet it was made in closed session, just like in the past. And somehow we haven't learned that transparency is important to our citizens. We want to do things behind closed doors and then come out and make a vote upon attorney's recommendation. That's sick. That is one reason why I resigned, is because that is unethical. But then again, we don't have an ethics policy, because that was eliminated. The second thing is, I don't want to hear it was a staff. I know after 6 years in that seat that Mr. Petcha wouldn't have made that decision without council approval. I know that. Second thing is, it's no more than revenge politics. We have paybacks, we have revenge politics. 6 years when I was sitting in there, several council members repeatedly wanted Louis' cart out of there because it didn't fit the image of what they wanted to present. Smoking doesn't fit the image. Are you representing yourself or are you representing citizens? Tell me, what are you doing? What kind of reflection does that give? I was in Florida, and Anna Maria Islands, the best islands in the world. And what do they have? They're friendly. They have cigarette containers, please put your butt. They work with all people, not just a certain element of that community. I am so tired of this. I mean, that's the sole reason. I cannot, and that's why I resigned. I cannot accept that type of behavior in this community. I have spent a lot of time in this community. I work very, very hard, and to sit there and do the things you are. Now, Ms. Spluman, I know that you did not want that hot dog character. Ms. Filkins, I know it has a lot to do with the former mayor, and Richie was a supporter. That kind of stuff stinks. It smacks at small town. You act like small towns, and you're going to look like a small town to everyone else. I am just appalled. I guess I'm not surprised. And the second thing is, if it was a frivolous lawsuit, then open the minutes. Yes, I will. Just like when I let my resignation letter, I asked the mayor. She countered, no, those weren't charges. Open up this closed session. Bring the minutes forward. Let the people decide.
Hi, Sue Mellema. Haven't seen you in a half year, probably 5 months at least. Denying Mr. Richardson a license is bullying. As you know, Mr. Richardson filed a case against the city requesting minutes from a closed session pertaining to an appointment. The city's legal fees were assessed at $24,000. Mr. Richardson's attorney is repaying the city, yet the city cited the $24,000 legal fees as one of the reasons for denying the license for the hot dog cart. That cart's proceeds go only to provide a day of enjoyment for a group of special needs adults at the ballpark. Mr. Richardson does not retain any of the proceeds personally. The cart is owned by a 501c3. Mr. Richardson's only the manager, so why is the city going after the hot dog cart? 3 possibilities that came to mind very quickly. One is it retaliation for filing a lawsuit? If that's the case, it is intimidation and it's bullying. Number 2, is the cart undesirable suddenly? After all, it's been there for a long time, many years. And number 3, is the city against special needs adults going to a Tiger ball game, paid for by the proceeds from the hot dog cart? As a teacher, I treated students with respect. As a result of the example I set, the students treated me with respect. Adults are the same. If the city treats a citizen with respect, the citizen will treat the city with respect. I want you to think about it.
Okay, I don't see anyone else coming forward, so I would like to close public comment, but I would like to pass this over to our city manager and legal counsel to see if you might have something that could provide some clarification.
You want me to start, or? Okay. Thank you, Mayor, and members of the City Council. I appreciate this quick opportunity to try to provide some clarification, and I know that the city attorney will do the same. But before I kick it over to Mike, I just wanted to mention, with respect to the application that we do have on file, it is filed in Mr. Richardson's name, and the business information itself is for Louie's Lunch on the Lake. Under the description of the business, it's referenced as being a 501c3 for the Cadillac Depression Bipolar Support Alliance. However, there's certainly nothing within the application that identifies that the equipment is owned by any such company or charity, and that the application itself is within, again, Mr. Richardson's name for the Louie's Lunch on the Lake business. And Mike, I think you've got some clarifying points you were going to try to make as well.
Well, I want to clear up a couple of statements that I think there may be some misunderstanding about. The city did not deny the permit. The city approved it conditionally. Those conditions are set forth in the ordinance itself, one of which is Section 10-40. That section says no licenses or permits shall be granted to any person owing any personal property taxes or other indebtedness, except real property taxes and special assessments. So what that section requires is no license or permit to anybody who is indebted to the city. There is a valid judgment that exists that is joint and several, both against Mr. Richardson and his attorney. That means the city may collect on that judgment from either or both, but not in an amount in excess combined of the amount of the judgment. The judgment remains outstanding. There has not been one payment to reduce that judgment. And that judgment resulted from the frivolous nature of the lawsuit that was filed against the city, which Judge Fagerman found to be intentionally to harass the city. So we can talk about, whether or not it is or is not justified. The city has provided a path for Mr. Richardson to be granted a permit. But until those conditions are satisfied, the permit is properly denied in part under Section 10-40. With respect to the application itself, the application and the applicant was Mr. Richardson. And I think there's still an issue whether or not you could apply as a corporate entity, in as much as the purpose of the investigation under the code section for the clerk to engage in is to determine whether or not a person is appropriately permitted or licensed by the city. So you cannot ignore the person apart from the entity itself. Notwithstanding, the fact is that this application was filed by Mr. Richardson, and so too was his certificate of insurance, that lists Mr. Richardson as the insured. Not a 501c3, not a corporate entity, but Mr. Richardson himself. Since then, I know the city has received a valid certificate of liability insurance. They have sent Mr. Richardson a letter indicating that that condition has been met, but there remains several other conditions that must be met before the city will issue the permit.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda this evening. And this evening we have the minutes from the regular meeting held on May 2nd. We also have the minutes from the closed session that was held on May 2nd, as well as the minutes from the work session that we had on May 9th.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Wolfow?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Motion carries. And then that takes us to a community spotlight this evening.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, Lindsay Westhorpe is here, along with her team, from Bid Social Media to talk to us about the Cadillac Commons project and the branding and the colors and the logos and so forth that go along with it. The project area consists of where the plaza, the farmers market, and the White Pine Trailhead extension, along with the Rotary Pavilion Plaza, are all located. Those are the four placemaking projects that are within that area. And Lindsay, if you wouldn't mind taking the podium and taking us through the slides, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi. Like Marcus said, my name is Lindsay Westhorpe with Bit Social Media. This is Danny Renwick with Carmelo Designs. We share an office just a block up East Pine Street from here. So Marcus kind of touched on the Cadillac Commons concept. The city brought us in to brand 2 of the newer pieces that are being built right now, and after some discussion and putting out some feelers, we were really excited at the opportunity to be able to brand this entire space together. And if we can, Danny is the graphic designer, so she will take us through the actual logos and how we came to what we've developed. And then my company, Bit Social Media, we're handling the web and the social media aspects. So I'll turn it over to Danny.
Thanks. All right. Oh, the worn out button, right? Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to walk you through the different elements of the Cadillac Commons identity so far. Pretty standard as far as logo ideas go. We start out with the color. Color was something that I really wanted to use some of our existing city and natural colors, so those are definitely represented. The blues of the lake, the greens of the trees. They're vibrant and youthful, and they bring a nice energy to what this identity ends up being. The second element to the identity is the map. We use a simplified version of this map. This one has all the names of all the pieces on there, but the map really gives people a perspective, shows the whole area in context, and I think it'll be a really nice feature when it's in use for people to understand what we're talking about. From the map, we developed an icon system, so each piece of the Cadillac Commons has its own shape, its own color, and can then in the future be represented as its own piece. So the plaza will have its own identity to be marketed for when we have events and stuff down there. The font is another important element of the identity. Cadillac Commons is supposed to be a place where the community comes together, so the rounded font really gives that human touch, and it also kind of gives it that family-friendly feeling, which is a really big part of the Cadillac Commons and the whole placemaking part. The logo variations, so you have a long version of the logo. We do these different variations so we can apply them to any possible element that may come up. And then we have a proposed banner system for the future. This will really tie everything together. It's going to show the whole identity system and the system of colors and the system of icons that we've made. And if you can envision in the perimeter of the Cadillac Commons, it'll really, as people are there, show this whole unified area, which I think will be really awesome. So, and then the next thing up is the website, and I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you. So, right now, if you type in CadillacCommons.com, this landing page is live. This is the first public appearance it's making right now. So, all it's doing right now is serving as a landing page. You can enter your email address for updates on our progress. This website will eventually become the go-to for all 5 pieces of the Commons. So if you want to know what's happening at the market, there will be a calendar there. You will know the schedule to the pavilion. It's a definitely a missed opportunity to this point. So bringing these 5 pieces together and branding them as one. We've both worked with the Visitors Bureau for the past 5 years, where we sit on several event committees, and we are just too excited to get our hands on this piece of branding to use for NASF, for the Beer Festival, for the Freedom Festival. There are so many things that happen in this space, and this is going to be some serious glue to tie everything together. So over the next several weeks, we'll be rolling these things out in stages. One extension of the website will be our social media presence, a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and what this would then lead to is our second round of crowdfunding that we hope to launch. We're actually working with the state right now to get that approved. There was a lot of great donations made in the first round with the pavilion, and we're going to try to go as grassroots as we can for the second round and generate a lot of good buzz about the projects, keep people informed through social media channels, and keep them up to date in real time, which I think is going to be a really handy tool. So, yeah, that's all for now, but we'd love to come back again after some more pieces have been rolled out. And we're, like I said, we're really excited to start using this in all the other promotions that we do around town. So
We'd love to have you come back.
all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and this evening we do have a public hearing.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The public hearing this evening is with respect to the resolution to adopt ordinance 2016-05 that establishes our General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2017. The city staff did go through a presentation the last time we had the hearing, and our finance director is going to basically remind us of the various opportunities that we had for prior public input for tonight.
Yep, okay. Prior to tonight, there's been several city charter requirements that we've met. Number one was the budget was delivered to council on April 1st. We did have the required public hearing on April 18th. In the meantime, we did, as council knows, hold 2 work sessions on April 14th and May 9th. Those are not required meetings, but they were additional opportunity for public input on the budget. The budget has been available for review both in the office here, on the city website, and at the library since right after the public hearing in April. So there's been many opportunities for input. The ordinance that's before you tonight, there's been no number changes to the budget based on the discussions that we've had. There's the section with the goals will be updated based on the work that we did at the last work session, and that's pretty much the update for tonight's public hearing.
Okay, at this time we will open the public comment portion of the public hearing.
I'll find that when I get done. Terry Harvey, Cadillac, Michigan. I live outside the city in Herring Township. One of your friendly neighbors, or should be. Or that's a mutual, maybe they should be. I have property on Lake Street, Bremer Street, that Marcus is familiar with. And I was told by one city official back about 15 years ago that I shouldn't worry about it. The problem was going to be taken care of the next year. It was in the budget. So I went to show it to me in the book, and it wasn't in the budget. I looked for it, and they bumped it 2 years. They bumped it 2 years for every year up until a year ago when they bumped it 5 years. At age 71, that makes me wonder if I'm going to be around to see the problem taken care of. I think in improving your street improvement program, I think you've overlooked a place that there are people within the city that know there's a problem there, has been a problem there, and have no intention of that being fixed during their tenure. I would like to see the city council have an independent person rate that street where the problem is, and I don't mean independent because I think your current engineering company that you've used recently is familiar with this, and they've been involved in some testing there. So they've worked both with myself, with the city, and with another company that did some drilling there 2-3 years ago. So I assume they may have a conflict in that whole thing, if they're currently your firm. But I think the city council should look into that and get some independent information on what the problem is there before they leave that thing go for another 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the public hearing and would open it for discussion within the council.
Is it it's in the 5-year plan? Is that, it's in the CIP?
It's in the 18-19, fiscal year 18-19.
And can you tell me what that is?
East Bremer Street.
Okay.
But, you know, honestly, I could not state tonight that it's going to be funded. It is showing up for that.
Yeah, that's actually West Bremer Street. It's in not the current fiscal year that we're looking at, but the next one. So it's in year 2.
Okay.
So it's upcoming, and it will be within the time frame of the bonds that we're issuing. So it's highly likely at least those first 2 years will accomplish in full.
Oh, you said it's west?
West Bremer Street, yeah.
So it's on this side of 131.
Between Lake and...
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is the street that Mr. Harvey's building is on.
Cool. I will, does anybody else have something? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to adopt ordinance 2016-05 establishing General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2017.
I'll second it.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries. And then that takes us to communications, Sandy.
First request is for approval of the parade route for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on May 30th, 2016 at 10 a.m. with parade set up on Harris Street beginning at 8:30 a.m.
Motion to approve the parade route for the Memorial Day Parade on May 30th.
Second.
It looks like Mr. Birdwell has something to say about the Memorial Day.
Stand here for
I think he probably does.
that we're not lining up in the city park this year.
Okay.
All right.
It's going to be Door Park. We're going to line up here at the city hall.
Oh, okay.
And I requested the street at Pine Street and Cass Street to be closed at 8:30, along with Harris, so that we got people in the parade getting lined up, because we do walk across the street to do our sailors thing. That was the only thing. Instead of leaving the streets open until the parade starts, we'd like to have them closed at 8:30 so we can get people in the city parking lot to line up. That's basically the only difference.
So they're lining up right out here?
Yep. I've already talked to Todd on the people that are working in the city that year. He's going to park all of his vehicles to one side and stuff, so we have basically everything open. So
Basically,
we're
just asking for Pine Street.
Lake Street from Pine Street to Cass Street. Yep. And they normally don't close them until parade time. I would like to have them closed at 8:30, so we keep the people out of there so we can line up some.
And it's in the form, so.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I
Okay.
can see it now. All right, thank you.
Makes sense. Thank you. Did we have we just need a roll call? I
We
think.
just need a roll call. We already had the motion.
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes, motion carries.
The next request is for the closure of Lake Street between Cass and Pine from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on June 4th for the Steam Railroading Institute.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Cass and Pine from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. June 4th of 2016 for the Steam Railroad Institute.
Support.
Hello.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'd love to hear about it.
It looks like
Yeah.
We're going to get the street.
It looks like the request for officer is not available.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, please, Chair.
On June 4th, we have Pier Marquette 1225 scheduled to come in, the steam locomotive, and that's why I've requested the entire length of Lake Street from Cass down to Pine just for passenger safety as well as the safety of the crowd that's going to come in to see everything. Once they unload passengers, they're going to go down to the yard off of Wright Street, turn the locomotive around, bring it back down to the park, and everybody will be able to see what kind of servicing and maintenance goes into that thing. And as of right now, we're on the schedule to be coming back in October with that.
Cool. Yes, I got to see it last year. It was pretty impressive.
With the steam engine in October as well?
That will be, I believe it's October 15th for the Mount Pleasant to Cadillac Fall Color Excursion.
With the steam engine?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And we're also running a couple of other fall excursions, but that'll be with diesel locomotives. And any information that we have on our activities can be found on michigansteamtrain.com.
Okay. Cool. All right, thank you. Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Spelman.
Yes.
Wolfile.
Yes.
Meinhardt.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Yeah. The next request is for the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Mondays, from July 4th to August 8th, 2016 for the Clam Lake Band. Original request was for July 11th. Since then, they came back and requested the 4th, so that's why it's...
Oh, okay.
Is that not part of the Freedom Festival?
Sarah?
No, I talked to Joy and she said that they were not requesting that, so he put in his request afterwards.
Anybody hear from there?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Mondays from July 4th to August 8th, 2016 for the Clam Lake Band.
I'll support.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spelman?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
The request for the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Thursdays from June 23rd to August 25th for Upbeat Cadillac.
All right, I'll make that motion to close the Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on Thursdays, starting June 23rd through August 25th of 2016 for Upbeat Cadillac.
Support.
Can we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spelman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
The next request is to display a banner from June 6th to June 20th, 2016 for Relay for Life.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the display of a banner from June 6th to June 20th, 2016 for the Relay for Life banner. Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Spelman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
I like that picture of the banner.
The next request is for various closures and also the beverage tent on June 3rd through 5th for Back to the Bricks. The beverage tent is operated by the J.C.'s, but it falls under the umbrella of Back to the Bricks.
Anything we need to know about
Is
this?
there anything different about that this year? Is it the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer tent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We are, I was going to say, we are asking in the motion for authority to make moves and changes on the fly, given that this is the largest, well, not only the construction, but this is the largest special event that we have if the weather cooperates. So,
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the beverage tent and the requested closures June 3rd through the 5th for the Back to the Bricks, and to grant the city manager or his designee with the authority to adjust closures as deemed necessary.
Support.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Spelman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries.
S item under communications is for the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on June 11th, 2016 for the Life Resources 5K.
Have we done this event before? Yes. Yes, okay. All right, someone make that motion?
All right, I'll make the motion to approve the request for the closure of Lake Street between Harris and Cass from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on June 11th, 2016 for the Life Resources 5K.
Support.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries. Lots going on.
Lots going on.
Okay, that takes us to the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The first item under the manager's report is a request to award to Rural Professional Services a study of our water system. The MDEQ requires a reliability study every 5 years. They did allow the city to go beyond that date given the relocation of our well field, but since we're still in the process of doing that, and it has been beyond the 5 years, they are asking us to do the study now without any delay. And so we did put a bid out. We did receive one. Again, it's for Rowe Professional Services in the amount of $12,990. And it is our recommendation to move forward with them accordingly. Funds are available in the Water and Sewer Fund for the study.
Is it strange that we only got one, or is that normal?
Strange. It is strange, but with the request from the DQ to go ahead and do it, and Rao being a qualified engineering firm to do it, a reputable company, you know, I think we have to go with it because of the DEQ request that we do it. And they did give us a generous time extension waiting for us to finish our well field up, but it just didn't happen quick enough, so.
Okay. I'm guessing that companies that do this kind of thing in Michigan are kind of busy right now?
There might be a lot of scrambling going on right now, so yes.
I'll make a motion to award the contract for the 2016 water reliability study to Rowe Professional Services in the amount of $12,990.
Support.
I have a question. What is the purpose of the study and what do they document?
Well, there's reliability of the system. They'll actually go and do a hydraulic model of our water system and project how our water moves throughout our system, project what our fire flows are, project what our system can produce and what it can do out in the system. Every 5 years, the state just likes us to reconfirm that we can provide adequate water for our customers.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay, Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The next item is a bid and recommendation regarding demolition services. Our fire marshal is here with us this evening in case you have any questions, and the communication was provided at your table side. The city has recently requested bids for the demolition of buildings located at the following: 117 West Cass, 924 Farrar Street, 162 Leisure Road, and 1126 Dandy Street. We did have 5 bidders attend the mandatory pre-bid meeting. That was on May 9th. 4 bids were received by the deadline, with the lowest bid coming from Dunbar Excavating Inc. in the amount of $35,700. Just as a quick refresher, the city was one of, I believe, 19 municipalities statewide that was successful in its application to receive a blight removal grant. We have applied for the grant in the past and have been unsuccessful. With this year, we were successful. And so that's great kudos to our fire marshal and to our community development director for that grant application. As a part of that grant, the state will provide 79% of the costs, whereas the city is responsible for 21% of the costs. And so moving this item forward, we are looking at awarding this to Dunbar Excavating in the amount of $35,700. The city's responsibility will be for 21% of that, in which that's approximately $7,497. Funds will be coming primarily through the DDA, as the largest property out there is the property located off of Cass Street, which is the 117 West Cass building. So,
I have a question.
Yep.
Wasn't there a house up on Marble Street on the list?
There is, and that one is special. Anthony, would you like to come to the podium? Yeah, that's coming down as well, but it's going to be handled separate from this piece.
Or if there are other buildings that weren't included for one reason or another?
Originally we've been trying to take as much as a city and package everything together to stretch these dollars as far as we can, because we know our grant award is for $100,000, but 21% of that is matched from us. So if we can package this stuff as tightly as we can and drill those costs down as far as we can, that helps save us money and save the state money. The unfortunate part is, even if we come in $10,000 under budget, we can't recapture those funds and then assign them elsewhere. The state will just recapture those and then likely redistribute them to one of there are 19 communities selected, maybe try to recapture whatever was saved from 4 or 5 communities and then go with project number 20. So that's the unfortunate part, but the good thing is we've got the funds to tackle these properties. These properties were selected, the residential side were selected because they were the worst of the worst. They were the longest standing condemned structures, and they were the ones that sat absolutely idle. When I say idle, there's been I looked at the histories on them, there's been no permit history, so no work to improve these things. A couple of places we didn't include on the grant because they have been pulling permits, doing work, so the object is to repurpose these places and keep them going. But these places, the ones that's part of the grant, have hit a status of they are no longer a functioning asset of the city. So that's why they were named. 117 West Cass was a big thing because we kind of talked about it as a shot in the arm for the Cadillac Commons project. That was a big chunk of funding to be able to cover the cost of the demolition for that building, because that building is over 9,500 square feet roughly. So that comes with a pretty hefty price tag, but fortunately with these funds we're able to do that. There is the other one, 303 Marble Street at the corner of Marble and Laurel, and in my opinion, and many will not, I don't think many will try to challenge me on this, is the most deplorable property, the most deplorable resident in this city. It is back on taxes. Actually, all of these houses, the houses themselves were back on taxes except for one, which we have a court-ordered demolition for. But 303 Marble was terrible. Originally, we were going to send this as one package. One contractor, you either have the capacity to do it or you don't. Unfortunately, 303 Marble Street has some asbestos issues to it. The siding of which is made of asbestos, so we have some cleanup to do before we can take it down. The other sticking point that we're being hurt by on this is the structure has degraded so badly, being open to the elements. There's holes in the roofs, and this place has gone unaddressed for so long that the inside is just a rotted, molded, mildewed mess. In good faith and for the safety of our asbestos contractor, I could not let them go in there. We opened the doors to the place and said, no, your life is not worth this place. Because of that, they could not sample the inside for asbestos. Now, the state, because it's in public hands and it's under an ordered demolition, the state of Michigan requires us to treat that whole structure, all of it, as asbestos containing. What that means is not only, we know the siding is made of asbestos, or has asbestos in it. We will have that taken off, removed properly. Normally, if there's no more asbestos, we could just tear the building down. This one's not the case. That whole building needs to be treated as if it contains asbestos. So that one has been pulled out of this package and put by itself because it takes specialty people to do that. There's about 200 companies in the state that deal with asbestos, and only a handful of them have the capacity to actually demolish asbestos-containing structures. So that one's off to its side. We had pre-bid meetings for that building this morning and this afternoon, and there will be another bid recommendation coming, probably your first council meeting in June, I'm thinking, is when we'll have that one in. But it's still part of the program. It's just it gets the extra special treatment.
Thanks.
Probably worked on this, Anthony. Any other discussion? All right, I'm going to make the motion to award the contract for demolition services to Dunbar Excavating in the amount of $35,700. Grant funds will cover $28,203 and our costs of $7,497 that'll be paid by the city. Support.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Reinhardt?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The next item is the water tower painting change order, number 1. If you may or may not recall, back last fall when the City Council awarded the tower painting bid, there was some discussion regarding whether it should include all the wording of our logo. If you look quickly on the screens before Sandy changes it.
There it is.
The full logo is that, City of Cadillac, Michigan. And so there was some discussion as to whether or not it should include all of the lettering or not, and my recollection was that there seemed to be consensus to move it forward and to perhaps come back with a change order for all of the lettering in place. And so that's what we're here tonight to do, or to request. That request is $7,800, and the slide on the screen here is a mock-up of a tower that shows both the logo with and without the full wording. It is going to likely depend a lot upon where you as an individual physically stand or are as you look at the tower as to whether you'll see, frankly, any of the writing on it. I mean, if you're too close, you're certainly not going to be able to even make out the word Cadillac that spans across it. That being said, if you're at a high enough elevation, or if you're at a further distance and you're looking at it, you certainly may be able to make out the full logo with all the wording on it, and certainly any aerial photography that's done will also be able to make it out as well. The cost differential is rather de minimis. The last time the tower was painted was approximately 20 years ago, and using that as a rough standard to look at as far as when we'll be redoing the tower again, it's less than $400 a year over that period of time to accommodate all the writing. But we're here to bring it before council for their determination whether to move forward with it. So.
I'll start, because I'm pretty opinionated about this. I didn't think there was consensus last time. I felt like everybody had an opinion, and we decided that if it was going to cost more to put all of the letters on there, then a change order would be brought forward, which is where we're at today. It was noted that we probably won't be able to see those letters or those words. I'm of the opinion that the less on it, the better, personally. And when I was driving in to this meeting tonight, I was actually looking at the water tower from my drive, which goes along the lake there on Chestnut. And so I noticed that it's half of it's no longer blue because they're putting some base coat or something on there. And the first thing that occurred to me was, wow, I sure am glad we went with that blue color. Because I can't wait until it gets all blue again, because that really is a remarkable color. And then, but the second thought I had, and I understand that that's a huge distance, but I could still see the letters, is that if it just said Cadillac, that would be great. And in a really nice typeface, which we have, just the words Cadillac, and I personally wouldn't even put the swooshes on there, because I think they are out of line when you don't have the whole logo there. So that's my opinion.
Okay. Well, I think I go along with your thoughts on that. You know, I'd like us to use the same type that we have, the same font, because it is our font, it is our logo, but I don't, I'm not sure it's worth the $7,800 to put something on it that you may not even see unless you're right under the tower. So my recommendation would be to save the $7,800, use it somewhere else.
Well, I just want us to remember back early on in our discussions when we were talking about why we wanted the logo up there, and that is our logo. And when, the Visitors Bureau is doing the marketing, the water tower is in a lot of those photos. And if we're thinking about Cadillac, and when you see our logo, the whole logo, to me, was important. So I don't want us to lose sight of that part of the discussion that we had. Changing it from the white to make it look like our city logo. And if we make the decision not to put that up there, we're putting half of our logo. So.
And to me, if you did that, one, you're putting Cadillac on there. Yes, we're in the city of Cadillac. But if you're somebody coming by, how do I know you're not representing Cadillac cars? Because you're just putting Cadillac. And I don't, I'm just driving through. I didn't pay attention to what city it was. It can happen. I've been to cities that I don't know what they are. And so now you're saying Cadillac. Well, God, they must build Cadillacs here, if you're driving through. And to me, I do think that should have been put in back when they were getting the original bids, because it might have been cheaper at that time because they were trying to get the lower bids. So now they got you over a barrel because you decide to do it. You're going to go with it. And
how long have we had this logo, this specific logo?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone...
It was created after I started. I started in 2000, and I want to say it was probably 2002, 2003. It's probably going on 15 years.
I was a little curious when we had our presentation earlier about the Cadillac Commons that they're not following this logo. So they're creating a whole different look now for...
Yeah, that's the DDA's creation.
Also, something to think about is, if you noticed in their presentation, they had 3 different setups for that logo that for different media or for different uses. And one was the long Cadillac Commons, one was Cadillac Commons, one was, and so I'm really, this is like a coin flip thing for me, which is crazy because it costs more money. But I've been thinking about, people have been talking to me about this and use the money for this or that or the other thing instead of this. But on the other hand, that it's Cadillac. And the city of Cadillac, Michigan really separates us from the car company, so to speak. Although we are the Cadillac of Michigan.
Yeah, and we had our name way before the car company.
Yeah, we did.
It'd be really hard for me to think that somebody would be in Cadillac and not know they're in Cadillac. and confuse that with a car.
I know, but still, yeah. So,
You want to offer
Okay.
anything, staff? Jeff, any thoughts?
Well, you know, originally we did not put the city of and Michigan on it because we thought it would be hard to see. I see the council member's position here that if you're driving by, maybe it would be, or for the pictures we have to advertise Cadillac, it would be good to have city of and Michigan. So to me, one way or the other, I think the city Cadillac and the swoosh is going to be visible. You know, whether we put the city of in Michigan, that, you know, I can go either way with that. I would, you know, the money is coming out of the utility fund for this, so, you know, it's, you know, it's not, if it wasn't used there, it'd be used on a different utilities project, so it's not like free money that can be used any place. It's utilities money that would be used in the utilities department. So can't fix roads with it. Too bad.
Fight the drug problem with it, which I've seen on Facebook.
So yeah, I'd say, you know, either design is good. I think, you know, an update to the tower is just going to be, it's going to stand out well, and it will be three of those Cadillacs will be on it. Like currently there's 3 areas that have the Cadillac. This one will also have 3 areas. They're going to paint 3 city logos on it, so 3 sides. So just keep that in mind. It's not just for 3 words, it's actually for 9 words, so.
You mean the price?
Yes, the price. So.
Is, how, I know we probably talked about this, but the city of and Michigan, how high are those letters? What's the size of those letters?
I think we're going a little bit bigger than the proportions that are on our standard letterhead or our standard logo, but not a whole, you know, we don't want to go so big that it's obvious. We want to make it as close to what we have and try to enlarge it a little bit, but you know, I really don't know. I'm thinking it's probably 4 or 5 foot for the C for the Cadillac. So, you know, those are probably going to be a foot and a half, maybe, you know.
I mean, it's obviously the representation, the graphical representation that you're looking at there is just that. I mean, it's been photoshopped in or however you made it.
No, the towers, I know, you know, the tower's probably 40 foot from bowl to top of the bowl. So, you know, maybe the C would be 10 foot, maybe. You know, so I mean, it's a bit more than we probably think it is.
And the paint job you think will last approximately another 20 years before we have to do this again?
Yes.
Kind of what?
Yes. The last one lasted 20 years, and I would expect that this one would last, but I don't want to jinx it.
You know, T.I. brought up an interesting point when she said they for the Cadillac Commons, they had the logo in different formats depending on the usage, and that's not uncommon at all. And you don't always see it that way. You know, when you buy trinkets or giveaways, sometimes you use different portions on it. I mean, it wouldn't be wonderful, to do something like that. What's good for letterhead or envelopes might not be good for everything.
Like water towers.
But I personally don't really care for it without the city of and Michigan with the swooshes. That's just kind of weird to me. It looks like a mistake. So for me, if we weren't going to have it, I would prefer just for it to say Cadillac. Okay.
So, with the other lettering, the swooshes?
No, just Cadillac.
I think it would look really to say cheap with just Cadillac on there. And that's how I would think, because it looks blah, like you don't care. That's what my opinion would be on that if I was to drive through. Can I ask a question?
There you go.
Okay, well, are we at a point that someone would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve water tower painting changes order number 1 to the LC United Paint in the amount of $7,800.
Okay, you're going to have to add to the motion, I think, which one we want.
Change order is
It's in the order.
Is it?
So by approving that, you approve the logo.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
that's what I thought.
I'm going to support that.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Spolman,
No.
Wolfile,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Shippers,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, and that moves us on to the adoption of ordinances and resolutions.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The first item is a local governing body resolution for a charitable gaming license for Love, Inc. It is required under state law that we provide the resolution. Sandy, do we have that in the packet?
Yes, we do.
We do? Okay. Sorry if I'm having a hard time finding it, because I don't see it.
If I may, Marcus, they're planning to hold a raffle, and in order to hold a raffle, they need this recognizing them as a nonprofit organization. We've done these in the past.
Yeah, we do have it. That was just on the wrong page.
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. And yes, we have done these in the past.
I'll make a motion to adopt the local governing body resolution for charitable gaming licenses for Love, Inc.
Support.
Sandy, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Wolfile,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Shippers,
Yes.
Spolman,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Mayor, members of the City Council, Mike Coy has stayed here all night for this one item. He graciously stayed after the Historic District Commission meeting earlier this evening. This is a resolution of support for the Sound Garden, which is located at the Clam River Greenway. There is a grant opportunity available through the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, and this resolution of support from the City Council will help pave the way to garnering hopefully some additional dollars. It's important to note that the Michigan Council for the Arts was very helpful with the city just a couple of years ago as they contributed some significant dollars to help us with the Phase 1 of the Rotary Performing Arts Pavilion project renovation. And so, Mike, was there anything you wanted to add regarding the Council of the Arts or the Sound Garden project itself?
Nothing to add, just if you have any questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Has council already received education on what the proposed changes are?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, so could we just have some of that information in brief?
Sure. Last fall, members of the garden club, specifically the retirees who tend to maintain the Sound Garden, came to Al Dumond and myself with some ideas to refurbish some of the deteriorated pieces and also to potentially add some new musical sound pieces to the Sound Garden. They came up with a good rough sketch plan, and when they got talking about how to fund it and their usual sources such as the foundation, Rotary, and I suggested to them that this type of project might be a perfect one to apply through the Michigan Council of the Arts. It just is right up their alley, and it is the type of thing that I know that they're interested in. And so I just thought to help them with trying to raise money and funding, that this might be a good grant to at least apply for. And my comfort level in it is the support that they've gotten in the past from the Rotary, the Foundation, et cetera, for things they've done in the past.
I have a question. With refurbishing and that stuff, the original artist of the Soundgarden, Frank Youngman, has he been involved in that?
Yes. One of his comments was it was not built with weather-treated type of material, and he quite frankly said it wasn't built to last forever. Mm-hmm. So while there are some things that may not be able to be saved, the group definitely wants to refurbish some of the original pieces and keep them. And there will be a more detailed plan going forward, but we have the time. The grant has to be in by June 1st.
Right.
Okay. And I'm glad Frank is involved in those discussions and that.
He has been. He just said, go ahead. He was very, interested that improvements were going to be made, but the original pieces were not designed to last forever.
Right.
So it's not going to be demolished?
That is not the intent.
My husband helped haul those giant logs of cedar out of the swamp. We all worked down at Floyd, that was right over next to what's going to be the farmer's market, and helped put those all together, and that was a wonderful community project. Just saying.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I will. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution of support for the Soundgarden located at the Clam River Greenway as presented.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This next resolution is a resolution to require and construct certain capital improvements in the city and to publish notice of intent to issue municipal securities. There is a typo that we need to resolve on the second page. There's a period where there should be a comma. Owen or Mike, is there any information you guys wanted to mention as to how this falls as part of the issuance for the bonds?
No, this is just a required process, required to issue a notice of intent that gives 45-day kind of right of this challenge or public comment, and then these are the bonds that we've been talking about for a couple of years, and we're going to combine into one issue the money for the downtown project and the streets. We had talked about $1 million for the downtown project and then $2 million for the street projects, and it was recommended that we combine those. That way we save on issuance costs. We're not doubling up on any of those issuance costs. So we're looking at doing probably a direct placement where we'll just issue an RFP and banks and other institutions will have an opportunity to bid on those. And the rates are really favorable at the moment. And in the meantime, in the next 45 days, we'll be doing a lot of work to make sure that as soon as this 45-day period runs out, we'll be able to get that money. This resolution also contains a reimbursement provision, meaning that the work that is commencing down in the parking lot in that area pretty soon is now money that these bonds can reimburse those costs. So we can cash flow those with some internal funds for the time being, probably about 60 days from now or so when we can actually get those funds. So this is a standard required process. One of the things that will be unique is we'll be back to council with an agreement because the DDA is not issuing their own bonds and pledging their revenues through a bond issuance process. What we're going to do is have an agreement that the DDA will sign with the city to pledge those revenues to cover basically a third of the debt service. So instead of doing that on their own and pledging their revenues, they'll pledge those to the city proper to make that happen.
Thanks, Lynn.
I will make a motion to adopt the resolution to require and construct certain capital improvements in the city and to publish notice of intent to issue municipal securities with typographical correction as stated.
Support.
Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Wolfile?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, and this evening we do have the minutes of some boards and commissions, those being the minutes of the Wexford County Airport Authority meeting that was held on April 13th, the minutes of the Downtown Development Authority meeting held on April 13th as well, and then the minutes of the Cadillac Arts Council meeting that was held on April 25th. And that takes us to the second public comment. Again, if you'd like to come forward, please state your name and then write down your name and your address. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Richie Harris. I live at 124.5 Air Street. First thing I'll start out on this so I don't forget, but you're talking about the water tower, and when I asked if I could ask a question, they were talking about taking the swooshes out. Well, you're talking about keeping the logo. The content of the logo is the swooshes in there, so why would you even consider taking those out, or if you're going to take the words out? You know, I just didn't understand that. I'm here tonight to talk about a few things. I haven't been here in a while because I've been terribly sick, and so I've been streamlining everything, and one of the things that really upset me is when you switch the TV things, the streamline.